Really excited about this morning. There's a lot to be excited about. I want to thank you for coming here in City Hall in an interesting time. I'll just sort of leave it at that as we look at transitions and a lot of the great work that's been done, but more importantly, the great work that will be done in the future. And that's why I think it's very appropriate for us to take the time to look at what Bonnie Glenn has done and will do during her oath of office during this ceremony. So she was, of course, unanimously confirmed by the City Council as the Director of the Office of Police Accountability, and we should be very proud about that. I know many people from the office are here. She's joined, of course, by her mother, a leader in her own right, who I could go on and on about Ms. Glenn, but I won't. Simply to say that thank you for always supporting me and being there for me as a young person here at the City Hall, and you've been a mentor and a friend for a number of years, and it's no surprise that Bonnie came out the way she did. She was supposed to, based on your mentorship and tutelage and that as a mother. As you all know, public safety is one of our highest priorities, and in that quest for strong and effective public safety, accountability is right there with it. Accountability is something that you earn. You have to prove it every single day. We all try to hold ourselves accountable to whomever we think we are accountable to. But when it comes to police accountability, given what we've seen in this country, not just in the last 10 or 15 or 20 years, historically we've seen unreasonable force, we've seen cruelty, we've seen inhumane treatment. We've also seen acts of heroism, acts of bravery, acts of kindness, that when policing is done well, it's a beautiful thing to protect people. And so this calibration, if you will, this balance between police accountability and excellence in policing is what we strive for. And we can only get there unless we have a leader like Bonnie Glenn, who understands the importance of making sure that everyone is seen equal under the law. And I used to say to police officers that when you are approaching someone, I want you to be able to see yourself in that person, your mother, your father, your son, your daughter. I want you to see a person who needs help, not someone who is a threat. And if you look at it through that lens, we do incredible things. And Bonnie has proven herself as a worthy leader in this space. And it's a very difficult space. I want to recognize my Chief of Staff, Andrew Meyerberg, who took that position. And he's only 30 years old. He took the job when he was about 20, and you see sort of what it does to you. It was. I'm going to go out with a few last jokes. You know, I'm going to go out swinging at a few folks here. But in all seriousness, Andrew set a very high bar, and it was very proud when I was on the council to go through your confirmation. And Bonnie, you have just done a remarkable job since you've been in there. A little bit about her background for those that don't know. First of all, she is a true Husky, and I knew her when she was an undergraduate. I think I was in law school at the time, and she had some friends that were in a sorority, and I was in a fraternity, and we befriended one another. Can I tell the story? Okay. It might be my last opportunity to tell the story. So Bonnie and I were in sort of I have to tell this story. I've told it before, actually, so some of you might have heard it before, but it's a true story. So Bonnie and I were she was a broke undergraduate like we all were when we were in college, and she had a car accident. And, I was the guy that always had the hookup. You need a plumber, I got a hookup. You need a contractor, I got a hookup. You need a painter, I got a hookup. So Bonnie said, hey, I need someone to fix my car. And says, I got your hookup. Let's go talk to this guy. So we talked to this guy, and he says, she's doesn't have a lot of money here. She's got good credit, but we need to pick up this car. And he looks at the car, She's with me, and then he says, yeah, I could fix this car. Are you seeing her? I said, no. She's much younger than me. She's just a friend. It's just a friend. I said, is she single? I said, I don't know if she's single. I said, well, why are you asking this question? So I go up to her and I said, hey, Bonnie, are you dating? She says, no, I'm not dating anyone. I said, well, he just wanted to know. So I go back and I says, yeah, she's single, And then he gives her an estimate, and I had made it very clear that she had to pay on time, didn't have gobs of cash at the time. And then I said, well, you guys both seem to be somewhat interested in each other, so you guys can take it from there. And that became her husband. And so when I was at, so my joke always was that I said, you know, I think it was many, many years over. We were at your house for a party or something. I says, "Hey, Bonnie, did you ever pay that bill? By the way, you really do anything to get out paying that bill, won't you, here, Bonnie?" But of course, she finished college and went to Catholic University of America, the Columbus School of Law, and had a great career as a King County prosecuting attorney. She joined the office as deputy director in September 23, and prior to that, she was also an administrative law judge at the state's Office of Administrative Hearings. So she was extremely well qualified for this position. An exemplary record in community service, and one example would be of many is her service on the Washington State Minority and Justice Commission, which that commission seeks to foster and support a fair and bias-free system of justice in our courts and judicial systems. And I know your work at the Youth and Law Forum and just other activities, president of the Lauren Miller Bar Association, which is a black lawyer association, just exemplary in terms of community service as well, really a community leader. And so your success as an interim director sort of speaks for itself and shows that you're more than capable of doing this job in a real critical time. So on behalf of the city, I'll be able to say in a month or two, just as a regular resident, on behalf of the residents of the city of Seattle, we thank you for taking this job because one of the challenges in your job, and I shared this with Andrew, I said, there's not a lot of victories. In other words, if you find that force was unreasonable, processes could have been implemented better, well, then an officer or the police department may frown upon that and says, well, we thought we did this, yada, yada, yada. And then on the other hand, if you found that force was reasonable and the processes were correct, the public will say, well, once again, they just sided with in a biased situation. So you're always, sounds sort of like my job, by the way, you're always checking off somebody. But if you have that strong North Star, and if you go to bed at night knowing you did the right thing, and I have to, again, commend the people in your organization. They do the same work day in and day out. So the victories are when you go home and you know you're doing the right thing. You're taking jobs that are very, very, very difficult. That is an unseen victory that all of you and your organization does. And for that, we're all very, very thankful. So having said that, we'll proceed with the oath of office by our city clerk, Sharon Dedman, who I believe is here. Sharon will come forward, and her ceremonial pin, again, will be affixed by her mother, Regina Glenn. And just for those that don't know, her mother was a former director at the city, director of licensing and consumer affairs department under Mayor Royer. And she should know that all of us young single interns all had crushes on her back in the day. I was was an intern here, and again, she paved the way for many of us, and her paving the way, Regina, just continues to this very day here in 2025. So let's do the ceremonial pinning.
We're going to pin afterwards. All right, please raise your right hand. All right, you're going to repeat after me. All right, so I, Bonnie J. Glenn,
I, Bonnie J. Glenn,
swear that I possess all of the qualifications
swear that I possess all of the qualifications
prescribed in the Seattle City Charter
prescribed in the Seattle City Charter
and the Seattle Municipal Code
and the Seattle Municipal Code
for the position of Director of the Office of Police Accountability,
for the position of the Seattle Office as Director as the Seattle Office of Police Accountability.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
the Constitution for the State of Washington,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Seattle,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Seattle,
and that I will faithfully conduct myself
and I will faithfully conduct myself
as Director of the Office of Police Accountability.
as the Director of the Office of Police Accountability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sign these two.
for the pinning.
Mom, here we go.
Wow, you know, that's very meaningful to me in so many different ways. Obviously, this day to day, and also my mom. I didn't know if you were going to bring that up, but my mom is a former director, and so I don't know how many mother directors that there are and daughters in the country, as well as African American, and so I'm very, very proud of that. I'd like to first thank you, Mayor Harrell, for your kind remarks and confidence in me to lead the Seattle Office of Police Accountability. It is truly an honor and a privilege to lead and serve this office on behalf of the City of Seattle. I believe my community service and my professional career experience has prepared me for this important work. Some of the things, as you mentioned, as a judge, serving previously for impartial and independent decisions, right? Whether it's a lead assistant city attorney, both in the criminal and civil division, as well as a prosecutor and deputy chief of staff, and also the years of service at the Department of Social and Health Services, whether it was as a director in JRA, the Juvenile Rehabilitation Administration, helping people with reentry, getting reconnected, importance. That's some of the stuff we do in building trust and all of that for the people who come before us and the citizens. And also the work as assistant to the secretary, and also with the services and working with the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, and all of those things in the services to help people, people with mental health, all kinds of issues in which we can help get people back on their feet and onto success. With that said, I believe each of these experiences, and I will also add one other, is that I have been an adjunct faculty for 18 years at Seattle University. I see we have alum in the audience, right? It's right there. And it's true, I've been doing that. I've actually taught at the law school. I've also, obviously, the university as a whole, I currently am a board of regent at Seattle University. But although a Husky, as well as also Seattle U with my experience, but I do have a deep commitment to inspiring others and helping people reach their potential or where they would like to be. It's something of who I am. I like to connect people in bridges and things in order, and I think that's important in this position, and always to be open with everyone. So I do believe each of these experiences has brought me to this moment to lead and shepherd this important work in office. I want to thank my experienced and dedicated and incredible staff, many who are here today, both civilian and sworn, who are incredible. They work every day to ensure our mission and vision to safeguard a culture of accountability within the Seattle Police Department. And I think you described it very well, Mayor Harrell. It's basically being sleep at night, that it's an impartial, independent, right, process. And as we go through based on the evidence provided, right, those are our wins and at times in making sure that things are running as efficiently. And we're working and continuing to work on that to take that to the next level. Also, I'd like to thank the Seattle City Council. I know obviously Chair Kettle of Public Safety here, and all the council, Sarah Nelson, and the entire council for your kind words and insight at my confirmation. Thank you for your confidence in me and the council as a whole. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family for their unconditional love and support. My mother here came on behalf of the bunch. Sometimes I call them the wild bunch, but I love them dearly. But they are my North Star, and that's what I wrote down, see? My North Star that brings me much joy, laughter, and love. Representing all of them, of course, as indicated, was my mom, Regina Glenn. Each of you today, I see Dr. Helfcott, a number of people here today. It is truly my honor to take the helm of this in service and working with community, with police. And it's one of the things, if I say that I think I can really bring to the table as value added, is that with all that experience, seeing people who we come into contact as if it was myself. I've done that at every position I've had, whether it was a prosecutor, whether it was a judicial officer, but you see yourself as they come before you. You look at things differently if you do that, right? but it's always to do that. And I hope at the end of the day, no matter what, that the process, everyone knows that it's fair and impartial. And I said that. I've said that in meetings I've gone out to with different folks here about our body of work, but I couldn't be prouder to lead this team and to go on to the next step. So with that said, thank you all so very much for being here today. It means a lot. And also next steps and things coming forward. We have a lot of good things in store, and also working on that next phase of things that we're doing for Seattle to ensure, not only with myself, but also my accountability partners, which would be the Office of Inspector General, as well as with the CPC, Community Police Commission, working for accountability on behalf of the City of Seattle. Thank you.
That concludes our formal presentation, and I wanted you to know that there are drinks and food all around downtown. All right.